So let's understand this scenario from the Scrum Master perspective first. So you are attending the interview for the Scrum Master role, and you have been given a scenario like during a retrospective meeting, the team says that they need 4 weeks instead of a 3 week to deliver a good quality work. So how you would enable the team, or what you would suggest the team to work on. So what you can say is, as a Scrum Master, I would suggest the team to take a shorter sprint, because during the shorter sprint, the team delivers something in 2 weeks, and end of the 2 weeks, they get a feedback from the product owner or from the customer that will help them to get more insights on the future delivered and how it can be improved further. Okay, so if you are a developer, or if you're a if you're a tester, if you have been given this scenario, you might be asked to say that, okay, so you're a developer or a tester, and you have been given a 3 week sprint cycle, and you have been given some amount of work, but you say that you feel that it's going to take 4 weeks to deliver a good quality work. So how would you explain the situation to your product owner? How would you take the help from your scrum master to achieve this situation, right? So that's how the question would be framed. Okay, so as per Scrum or Agile, it's always recommended that we take a shorter sprint, yeah, so that we can focus on the most important work instead of taking a lot of work during a 4 week sprint. If we take a 2 week sprint, we will prioritize the most important one. That is the first point. And when the sprint is shorter, we get the chance of uh, insights and feedbacks from the product owner or the customer post their user acceptance testing of the work that we have delivered. And when we focus on the most important piece, when we ignore the least important one, we take less amount of work and we deliver a better quality than a longer sprint of 4 weeks, right? So that's what I have explained so far. So we get the feedback from the users more quickly, and it helps us stay focused on the main work than getting sidetracked into less priority work. Yeah. So this is what you would explain, and also you can say some challenges, right? And the sprint is shorter, you cannot take a larger piece of work. You might need to chop it into smaller units, and you might drill down a complex user story which is going to take 4 weeks time into a smaller parts, and you split it further, that can be accommodated or that can be delivered end of a sprint. Yeah, that is something you can say that. And another point is that the team may need work more intensively, and they may need to be more careful about planning and estimating their work. However, the benefits working with the shorter sprints can outweigh the challenges. So the Scrum Master's suggestion to reduce the sprint duration to 2 weeks was unexpected, but it was a very good suggestion. If the team is struggling to deliver with good quality in 3 week sprint, then reducing the sprint duration to 2 weeks could help them to improve their quality. Also, they get 4 weeks, and the work is getting further drilled down into 2 weeks effort. Yeah, that's how you would justify as a Scrum Master why you are suggesting that. So the next question is, the team is working on the development of internal tools. One of the tool is meant to help optimize network traffic for the company. What is the best time to invoke the transition manager from the network team into the team's development cycle? Yeah. So as a Scrum Master, uh, what would be your suggestion when the transition manager from the network team can involve the team's development cycle? Yeah, that's how you would be proud. And if you are a developer or tester, they can say that you are using a internet tool, and it's to optimize the network traffic. And uh, if you are been if you have been consulted, what would be the best time for the transition manager from the network team into your development life cycle? What would be your suggestion? Yeah. That's how you'd be proud. So the best time to involve the transition manager from the network team into the development lifecycle is during the sprint reviews. So during the sprint review, the team gives a demo, and at that time, that the the feature is used at 100%. So and during the time, they can get feedbacks from the stakeholders who is involved. Yeah, and even the transition manager can review the work and provide the feedback about how it will impact the network. Yeah, and whatever the future that is developed, how it is going to utilize the network, so whether it will make any downtime, and then the team can gain clarity from all these potential issues from the transition manager. So that is the best time, but it should not be restricted only to the sprint review. And if you need the early feedback whenever the transition manager is available, we can agree with them well in advance while planning that work. Once it is ready, we will schedule a call with you to take your feedback. So it is well and good to take the early feedback as and when the future is ready to be tested, and we can identify and resolve the potential issues even before the demo or sprint review with the customer. Yeah, who is going to be the end user, or it could be for the user acceptance testing. Yeah. So improved communication is another point that we need to consider. The sprint review is for the communication to flow from both ends, that the team gives a demo on what has been developed, and the stakeholders, they get a chance to view what has been developed. And so think from the developer standpoint what has been completed, and as a end user how we would use it, so they can see it, and then they can understand what needs to be further enhanced. They can give the communication during the review session itself. Yeah. So we have already discussed about this increased collaboration, that during the sprint reviews, it becomes faster and better. So the communication flows back and forth. So that is a right place to perform this. And as a scrum master, what we need to do is we need to understand the role of a transition manager here, what he would do, and during the sprint review, and what is expected of the transition manager, what is expected from the team in order to give the demo to the transition manager. So we should be very clear on the roles, and whatever the info the transition might need, it is well and good to provide him well in advance so that he would be a bit prepared on the requirements, timelines during the retro meeting, the review meeting, so that he can give his feedback. Yeah. So the next question would be, during a Scrum retro, team identified a bunch of improvement actions, but they said that they could not work on any of those because the next few sprints were going to be very busy. So as a Scrum Master, how would you handle the situation? Yeah, or as a team lead, how would you handle the situation? This is how the question would be thrown at you. So what you can say is that we need to first and foremost acknowledge the concern. The team is saying that they are going to be super busy, so we cannot push them additional activities to improve on the areas of improvement. But at the same time, if it is something related to the work that they do, they can focus more on quality instead of compromising on quality. So as a scrum master, so you can suggest that instead of delivering more stories and more story points and causing a lot of defects or bugs, it is good to focus on the quality. So first and foremost, understand the team's concern, why they say that they are going to be super busy, whether they are worried about the timelines, or they are concerned about their workload, what is the team's concern. So we can start addressing them once we understand that first, and then we can prioritize the improvement action. Not all the improvement action needs to be implemented right away, so we can prioritize the improvement actions based on the current load the team has got. And improvement actions, as I said earlier, if something can be done part and parcel of their work, then it can be further drilled down into smaller tasks, and they can do it in parallel, then they are feeling that it's very tough to implement when it becomes a larger commitment in terms of the improvement area. And we can also estimate the amount of work required to implement the improvement points. Yeah, so we need to ask the team how much time in order to perform some improvement actions, and what is the additional amount of time that they might take. In return, we can work with the product owner to adjust some work because the team feels that they are going to be very busy. Yeah, so we need to find out the way to free up their time to implement the action item. And also the improvement actions, once it is identified and started to implement, we need to track the progress until it gets closed. So we cannot ignore the improvement action until its closure. So we need to ensure that the improvement actions are closed. Yeah, so during this process the scrum master needs to be patient enough, and he should be positive about the improvement actions getting implemented. At the same time, he should create a positive atmosphere for the team as well, that he should encourage the team to be very positive about accommodating the improvement actions. In parallel, we are omitting few from the upcoming sprint. It's going to be postponed, then we can implement them later when it comes to the deliverables or the improvement action. So we should ensure that the team is encouraged to be participative than being afraid of taking the improvement actions. And we should be flexible as well, and we should be able to accommodate the or adopt the team's needs as well. If the team says that I can pick up these work later, I'm happy to implement the improvement actions right away on the code quality, then that is the most needed one. We cannot develop a buggy product and we cannot scale it. So we need to ensure that we develop a quality work, high quality work, so that it can be scaled, it can be delivered to the customer with high return on investment. Yeah. With that, we have completed the questions around the stakeholder review meetings. The next one is on the product backlog management. A very large product team has been split up into 10 different Scrum teams, and the product comprises 10 different subsystems which share functionality. Each team has been finding it difficult to sit through the entire backlog, so they request each team to have its own backlog to make it easier to manage and prioritize. So how would you handle this situation as a scrum master? This is how it be the question would be asked you. So first and foremost thing is that it cannot be a team specific backlog. It has to be only one backlog as a product. So if it is one product, it's one product backlog, and the team needs to have the better understanding of the subsystem. So we need to help them, we need to train them on the features that are already developed. So that's what we need to do. That is the ideal practice. Let's see how the scrum master will handle this situation. Yeah, first and foremost, the scrum master needs to understand the concerns from the team, why they say that, why they're insisting for their own backlog. We need to understand that concern first. Yeah, the size of the backlog might be complex, but when the product backlog has been groomed further, it's going to be very smaller unit, right? And they need to understand these are all interrelated, because we have already explained the situation that it shares the functionality. So one functionality would impact the other functionality. So if we create a defect in the dependable functionalities, then it's not a high quality work. So we need to make them understand as well. So once we understand the situation, the concerns of the team, we need to explore the options as a scrum master, how we are going to address them. Yeah, one option is to create a separate backlog for the subsystem so that they can see the progress, they can understand the subsystem. At the same time, the team needs to understand how the functionalities are shared across, right? Yeah, another option is to create a swim lane backlog where items are organized by subsystem. So the swim lane is nothing but, so there will be multiple swim lanes. The team would be focusing on their swim lanes, and they would groom it further, and they would be delivering it. Yeah, so that is what we call it as the swim lane. The scrum master should also consider the impact of creating separate backlogs on the overall product development process. For example, creating a separate backlogs could make it more difficult to track the progress and to identify the dependencies between subsystems. So as we already said, it has to be one backlog. So when you create a subsystem, how you are going to track the progress on the overall backlog, and how would you identify the dependencies between subsystems? Say for an example, one of the feature in a subsystem is getting delivered. How you are going to test it? How it is going to be integrated to the core functionality of the main product? So we need to see all those things. We need to plan all those things. That takes more time when we create subsystems, when we create a separate backlogs. Yeah. So ultimately, the decision whether or not to create a separate backlog is up to the team. Only the Scrum Master is supposed to do is help the team to explore the options in hand and to make it the best for everyone, not just the team. It should be a viable one for the product owners to manage the backlog, as well as to the other teams who are involved. All the 10 teams should be in one page. It cannot work on silos. So as a scrum master, what I should say is that I would be a facilitator to enable the discussions between the team and the product owner. And it could be one product owner for all the, as it's a one product backlog, it could be one product owner, or it could be when we create separate backlog, it can be further handed over to product owners who handles the subsystem. So we need to enable, we need to facilitate meeting among all the parties involved, and we need to discuss the goal to understand the team's concern, as well as to explore the options for addressing them. And we need to respect everyone, right? So that is one of the core agile values or scrum values, that we respect everyone and we are supportive of each other. Yeah, that's on the product backlogs. So the next question is on delegation of a task. So Anil is a tech lead with a product team and is the team's most senior developer. His team decides to adopt Scrum, but Anil wonders what will happen to his role, because he's a tech lead and if we adopt Scrum, there is no tech lead role in Scrum. So he has the coach who is managing the transition. How should the coach respond? So here you have been asked as a agile coach or a Scrum coach, how would you handle the situation? What you would respond to Anil? So first and foremost, we need to understand the situation why Anil is asking such a question. What happens to his role, and who is managing this transition? Whether he will be taken out of the team. So we need to assure him that his role is still important as a tech lead, as a development lead. His role is still important. He is going to act as a bridge between the product owner and the development team, and he will always handhold the development team in the role that he has been playing. So we need to reassure that his role is still important in Scrum, and the tech lead is going to help the team to deliver values to the customer. And Anil can further advance to technical leadership roles when he further contributes to delivering value to the customer early and continuously. So we need to focus on collaboration and empowerment of his role with the transition manager, if there is a transition manager, how he can be given the visibility. Yeah, so that's how we need to address the situation. Yeah, that is the main point the question has been thrown at you from by the interviewer. Is trying to understand your maturity, how you are going to handle if there is a person like Anil, how would you handle that tech lead? That is a logic behind this question. Yeah. So we need to explain the tech lead role is more fluid than it is in the traditional waterfall methodologies. In the waterfall methodologies, the tech lead is one of the critical role, but there is no such lead role in Scrum. It's the development team, the Scrum Master, and the product owner. That is a Scrum team. So there is no such role as a technical lead role. Either it would be a developer or senior developer, or the developer might be taking care of the testing task as well if he is cross-trained. So we need to explain these to Anil, but we need to tell him that he should be adaptable and he should be willing to change as the team evolves. and he will have his place, and by rest assuring that he needs to be continuously helping the team deliver value to the customer. Yeah, so there are a few specific sentences that you could use to handle the situation. That you can say that you would say that his role is still important in Scrum, and he will still be responsible for technical leadership, and he will also need to focus on collaboration and empowerment of the team. And you can say that the tech lead's role in Scrum is more fluid than its traditional waterfall methodologies. That means that he will need to be adaptable and willing to change as the team evolves. And you can say that you are confident that he will be able to be succeed in his new role as the technical leadership for the development team. And you can assure him that he's a talented developer and he's a natural leader, so he doesn't need to be afraid of being a technical leader. And you can say that you are excited to see what he can accomplish in the upcoming days. So you can assure him that, and you can give him the confidence that he doesn't get motivated, he doesn't get demotivated by the transition. Yeah. Another thing is that you should be patient enough while he's adjusting to the new role. We should be coaching him, we should be supportive, and we should be positive that he will pursue his new role as a challenging and more rewarding one. So we should ensure that we make him the candidate or the a person who is the tech lead. We are making him more confident, and we need to be very open to hear from Anil how the transition is going on, how he expects the support from the Scrum Master or the Agile coach to adapt to the situation, or he's looking for any support from anyone else. Yeah. So the next question is on the delegation of tasks. A large product team comprises 5 different Scrum teams working on the same product. The Scrum Master meets once a week to synchronize the work. For one of the teams, the Scrum Master is out sick. Whom should the team send for the meeting? So this is on the delegation of tasks. So Scrum Master is out, he is unwell, he is on sick leave. So how the team is going to handle this situation? Yeah. So as it's 5 different Scrum teams, the Scrum meeting would happen, and that is to sync on the work of the multiple Scrum teams, how they have been progressing. And it's not necessarily the Scrum Master needs to attend the Scrum meeting. So someone needs to represent the team in the Scrum meeting. And the best person would be to attend these meetings is the team member who is most familiar on the recent developments that is run by the development team, and he has the interest to represent the team, and he is up to date, and he is good in collaboration with the rest of the team members to know what is happening, and he's ready to table the points if there are any challenges in the Scrum meetings to get the help from the product owner or from other teams, a developer, or any experienced team member who can help in this situation. So the person who should be volunteered, who should be attending this meeting in absence of the Scrum Master, could be anyone. It could be the product owner itself, or it could be a lead developer from the team, or it could be any experienced team member who has been there, part of the team, who is aware of these expectations during such a Scrum meeting. Yeah. So all the person needs to do is that you need to say that the so if you are a Scrum Master, if you have been asked this question, you would say that I would call up a person who is familiar with the team's work, who is able to represent the team's interest, and who is available on that day as I am not available. And you would volunteer a person that who can attend that meeting, and he is familiar with the work, and he can sync with others, and he is highly of knowledgeable. He can speak about the recent changes and progress done by the team. So that's the person you would volunteer, and you would say that the person would be happy to attend the meeting, and he is ready to represent the team, and if there is any need for the team, he will represent the team, and he will table those topics, and he would get the help. Yeah. So if the team is unable to identify any person who meets all these criteria, then they can do a small delegation to the meeting. The delegation is nothing but that they can involve more than one person who are familiar with the team's work, and whoever joins, they are good in representing the team in the particular topic they are going to talk about on the team's interest or the team's need. Yeah. So another thing is that if you're unwell, if you're unable to handle the situation, how you would handle this delegation of tasks, that is what expected out of you. So if you're a product owner, you might be asked that you are the product owner, the scrum master is on leave, how would you handle the situation? So if you are not up to date on the recent changes and development by the team, all you can say is that you would communicate with the scrum master, you will try to understand what is expected from the last meeting, if there is an action item, and then you will delegate a person and you will communicate with the team on what is expected out of this meeting, and you will make a note of all the points, and then you will represent the team, or you will announce a person to the audience that who would be representing from the team. And so if you're going to represent, you will be preparing for the meeting as the product owner to represent the team, or you will help the team member to prepare for the meeting. And if the scrum master is back, then he needs to sync up what has been discussed in the meeting. So you would follow up after the meeting. And if the team member also must be proactive to share the points discussed to the entire audience.